We're back. All right. So welcome to our new panel, The Impact of Education. Again, I'm Ming Na Wen, and joining me is co-moderator, the amazing, and obviously now we know, delinquent, Ramona Young.
Yes, thank you. That is true. Yeah, we're super excited to be here again. The first panel was so helpful and informative. And now we're going to learn a little bit more. So let's welcome our next panelist, Norbert and Suzanne.
Hi, Norbert.
Hi, how are you?
Suzanne.
Hi.
Can you introduce yourselves to our audience and
Absolutely.
tell a little bit about who you are?
Sure. Good afternoon, everyone. Norbert Tan, and I'm the Deputy Director at AAPI Equity Alliance. We're also one of the co-founders of Stop AAPI Hate. I am a second-generation Chinese American, grew up in New York, going to a high school where there were the Tan family and the Lee family. We were the only Asian Americans in the high school, and ended up coming out here to go to UC Berkeley, and then got my business degree at UCLA's Anderson School. So we'll talk about a crazy path that I have, and I'm working now in racial justice, social justice space, which my parents had no idea what that was. And we have a 17-year-old daughter who just finished some of her college applications this month. So we'll talk about that crazy journey.
Oh, wow, you're in the thick of it. Yeah.
I'm Suzanne Park. I'm an author, a fiction author of young adult and adult novels that feature the Asian American experience. And I like to showcase Asian American protagonists in all of my books, as well as their families. I went to Columbia in New York. Oh, I have one Columbia fan out there. Yay! And then also, like Norbert, I went to UCLA for business school. I have a 9th grader who is just starting this journey. I don't think she's ready to start the journey, but they already made her take the PSAT, so that has already come through. So it's one of those things where we now know this process has started. So I'm excited to be here.
Well, thank you for being here, and let's dive into this, huh? Norbert, as someone working directly with AAPI communities, what do you see as the most significant impacts of education?
Yeah, higher education really helps mobility in our community. As many of you know, in the Asian American and Pacific Islander community, we have the largest gap between the wealthiest Asian Americans and the poorest, unfortunately, more so than whites, blacks, Latinos. So education is definitely a pathway to sort of get us into economic and social mobility.
Okay. Interesting. I did not know that.
No, I didn't know that either.
I hope we get to dive into why
More
that
fun
is.
facts
Yes.
today.
Yeah.
Right.
Suzanne, as an author, how has being an author influenced your perspective on higher education?
So when I was starting out and trying to figure out what kind of college I wanted to go to, my first priority was trying to find a school in a big city. That was actually probably my only priority. And like now that I'm reflecting upon it years later, I think it's because I wanted to be around more people who look like me and people I could identify with. And I think that was a good decision for me because once I moved from a small town in Tennessee to New York City and was exposed to different communities, as well as just had a lot of vast range of experience, like exposure to people within the AAPI community too. And from that experience, I was able to, that exposure, I was able to think more about the Asian American experience, and I think that's what led to my storytelling. So all of my books now, they feature Asian American protagonists, and all of that was from just my experience growing up and then also going through college and grad school.
So I want to go back a little bit to your reference about Asians having the biggest gap
Yeah.
income-wise, because we don't hear, we're always told we're the model minority, right? We're the one that excel and prosper, and so it is interesting that we have the most.
And I mean, let's talk
we don't-
about that. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, the model minority myth was actually created by some white professor at UC Berkeley in the late 60s. And it was about putting a wedge between communities of color. This white professor said, oh, look at the Asians. We had locked them up in Japanese internment camps. They're not complaining. Look at all these African Americans. They're out rioting and things like that. Why can't you be more like Asians? So it was really a terrible myth that was constructed, and to this day, unfortunately, it negatively affects our communities. We saw that with the affirmative action ruling and some of the schools, and just recently where politicians say, oh, Asians, you're fine, you do well in math, you're doctors and attorneys, we don't need social services, we don't need to give you any government funds, and it's totally wrong. I mean, we know some of you are from Orange County. There's a large Southeast Asian community that's under the poverty line. So our needs are very vast, and the model minority myth is unfortunately a bad thing for us, and we are always trying to really combat that. And I know Ming-Na also in entertainment, it's the same way.
Right,
There's some
right.
preconceived notions of what Asian American actors have to go through.
I am
Yeah.
actually learning so much right now. This is
Yeah.
insane.
Is your mind?
Yeah,
But
Yeah,
it's
okay.
so great. That's why this program with the scholarships, because I'm sure a lot of people are like, well, why do they need the money?
Right.
So these scholarships are very important and vital for their
yeah.
education, because then it does help open more doors and opportunities for, because we have to deal with not just a lot of times the generational gap with our parents, but also we have to overcome the language gap. Like my mom and dad definitely, spoke English up to a certain level. And so, we have those things and challenges to overcome.
Yeah. I mean, a quick fun fact before we move to Susan, since this is a scholarship program as well, Asian Americans receive less than 1% of scholarships in the U.S.
Wow.
And we represent 8% of the U.S. population. So what's going on there? So something to think about.
Yeah.
Being placed in this weird position, the dichotomy between like being labeled as a model minority, but not also like receiving some of the resources. How has education personally opened doors for you guys and helped you guys?
For me, I feel like my education helped me gain confidence and knowledge that let me see that education can go beyond the textbook.
Right.
And by that I mean, I did my schooling at undergrad at Columbia, and then I went on to graduate school at UCLA's business school. But then while I was doing that, or in between those moments that I was in school, I was also taking classes at UCLA Extension and NYU Extension, trying to figure out what kind of writing I wanted to do. I learned also what kind of writing I'm bad at. So it's also helpful in that way, so you can explore and try to figure out what you want to do. And then it was from there that I was able to use that knowledge too. Once I got my first publishing contract, I was able to, use my creative, sort of the creative development and all the creativity that I've learned from, my writing classes, and then also use my business school experience to help me understand the business side of publishing. And publishing is a very opaque industry, so it really helped with that combination to be able to persevere in an industry that I don't see many people who look like me.
Yeah, well, I'm in that boat too,
Yes.
writing my cookbook, and it is a different beast.
Yes.
But I find it fascinating because Cal, are you still there? Who asked the question? Caleb,
Caleb.
right? I'm already calling you, Cal. You see how Suzanne had so many avenues of her journey to discover, what her passion was. So, that goes back to living your life and figuring it out, and college and education offers a foundation, I think, right, to allow you that freedom.
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think with parents, when we talk about the model minority myth, it's okay. Your kids don't have to be doctors, lawyers, accountants.
They don't?
Right? They can really pursue their passion. And I think
right.
that's why they brought us up here. We have
We don't represent that,
represent
demographic
our
whatsoever. Although I did
non-doctors,
play a
lawyers.
doctor for
That's
5 years.
right. That's right.
And got paid probably much better than doctors do.
And I think, to Caleb's point earlier, just your passion, just think about what you like doing. I mean, I worked for IMG Entertainment for a while, which is a sports management company, but I ran the arts and entertainment side of it. And it was one of those things. I'm a musician and a drummer as well on the side. And that was my passion. All my music teachers said, "Oh, don't be a professional musician, go to college." And I listened to them, unfortunately, and went to college. But you can still figure out how can you use your passion. And I ended up in arts and entertainment on the management side. So I didn't lose that passion for music. So, Caleb, I think it's thinking whether, you love sneakers or video games, that there's actually ways you can go into industries and still be close to your passion. So you don't have to give up your passion in terms of a career path.
Right, yeah. Being parents, and both of you are embarking on this incredible journey with your kids. I'm so excited for you. It's fantastic to kind of like let them spread their wings. How do you see education as a way to, create these opportunities for your kid? Is it like, is it something that you want them to pursue, or now that we're of this generation, let them do whatever they want? They don't have to go to college if they don't want to. They can just, like all these influencers now, they work their asses off, really. Can I say that word? Yeah, we're in college. They work so hard to provide this career for them. So there's so many ways, but do you feel like education is still an important aspect for your kids?
Yeah, so my daughter is still, she's only in 9th grade, but I think she's equally left-brained and right-brained in terms of, everything that she's interested in. To her test scores, they're just equally balanced. So what do you do with a child that, has that? And in addition to that, at her school's already kind of getting her started to think about careers, and she's definitely doesn't have any idea what she wants to do. Her latest career assessment said she could be either an air traffic controller, a truck driver, or a computer programmer.
Wow.
So she's, it's all over the place. So she's a little nervous. But for me as a parent, second-gen parent, now parent of a third-gen, I want her to find kind of a career, an education career path that allows her to explore more, because she doesn't know what she wants to do. And there are certain colleges and programs that have more of an open curriculum, or have that ability where you can experiment a little bit more. So because I know she doesn't necessarily want to do the STEM, a major or anything like that, that is a little bit helpful with guidance. But other than that, though, it's for her to find, hopefully, a career path where she is allowed to try different industries, try out different interests, like look into different majors and find the right fit for her. But yeah, that's what we're hoping for her. But my sister's actually in higher ed, and she's seeing a shift in the demographics when it comes to the types of people who they're hiring now, and she's seeing more people that look like her too. And it's nice to see on the administrative side on higher ed that there's a shift there. And also there's more of a shift in curriculum as well. So I think between the shift in the administrative side as well as the curriculum side, we'll start to see more amplification of Asian American voices, AAPI voices, and hopefully we'll be able to see more progress toward creating a more inclusive society.
Yeah, I think on that note, Suzanne, folks don't realize there's something like 7,000 universities and colleges in the United States. So it's really about fit, right? So you don't have to go to the Ivies, and I think we are non-Tiger parents, we realized earlier, and like our daughter, she just applied to Northeastern University in Boston. They have a co-op program, so she could just explore. She wants to be a physician assistant in a dermatologist or plastic surgeon's office. And I said, honey, that's very specific. What happened? And on TikTok, apparently, there's an influencer who's a physician assistant. So that's where these
I've
guys,
seen that one.
Yeah, they're getting career advice from TikTok.
But whatever inspires them.
right.
Yeah, I don't know. My algorithm on TikTok is cats and like white dance moms. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, that's where they're getting.
That's a different panel.
Yeah, that's a whole different panel.
I'm endlessly learning today. That is so interesting. I got to look that up. But thank you for your unique insights and our specialized panelists. Like, I'm learning so much. I think when I first got here even, I was like, I've always felt like an obligation that I, had to pay forward to attend college. And now, like, my perspective is kind of changing into like, oh, college is supposed to help me do what I love, whether it's like being an author and moving to a big city, or helping out with the community. So thank you so much for giving us all this insight and information. And Ming-Na, do you have anything you want to add?
No, I think we just have enough time for a couple of more questions before we wrap up this panel. So if anyone in the audience is brave enough, otherwise we'll take some from online.
Hi everyone, Leah again with
Yeah.
IW Group. Thank you all again for being here. Just a reminder to anyone that wants to submit questions, I'm aggregating them, so you can go ahead and scan the QR code and add them, and we'll filter through. So, Suzanne, I know you said I believe it was your daughter who is a freshman, still far off, but what things can kids do these days to prepare even at a young age, even though college may seem 3-4 years away? And I'll open that up, but would love to hear experiences.
For our family, we're seeing that there's so much available online and just for free, virtually. So we're just kind of exploring that now. She's also being encouraged to talk early to her academic advisor and her career advisor to of course she doesn't know what to ask and she doesn't actually use that time, but I'm hoping over time she will, because she knows now they're available. And I think when I was in in high school, I didn't even know what a guidance counselor did, to be honest. But she's been she's been prepped, so she actually knows where to go to with all these questions. There's a lot of podcasts that have tons of information about schools and what their curriculum focuses are, and what types of students they're looking for, essay help. That's all available now, and I think now that we are starting to explore that, we're trying to figure out what would be helpful for her now, because it is kind of early. But we have our first, it's like a practice, but our first college tour booked for December or something. So it's not, and we were going to do like a semester just to see what it's like. So that's how we're starting early, but nothing too scary.
Yeah, definitely, I think +1 on the college tours. We did that over spring break, and we saw a dozen colleges on the East Coast. One thing, a theme that has come up a lot is really with your extracurricular activities, really think about going deep versus wide. In the old days, folks thought, oh, you had to be good in academics and be in this sport and in band and in theater and all of that. And admissions officers really want to see sort of a dedication to one or two things. So like our daughter, as I said, I'm a dance dad. She's been doing ballet since she was a kid, the whole Nutcracker thing. She's continued to do dance. She's on dance team at high school, and that's really her jam. She doesn't do She's in a couple of other clubs, but she didn't have to be in 12 other things. And it allowed her to really focus on her, in her essay. As someone mentioned before, it wasn't your friend. It wasn't just boring in a list of 12 things. She could really go deep into her extracurricular.
And actually, when it comes to being in ninth grade and kind of early and figuring all of this out, she's been introduced to new extracurriculars that she did not have before at her old school. So she tried out Model UN, which is why she loves your show. Because Model UN, she's now learned everything about Model UN through your show. But she is also trying out different sports as well. So I think that has also been interesting for us to see what she's interested in to develop and then what she already had going into high school.
Great. I have another question here from Rudley or Redley. I've been taking part in a lot of writing and film programs, and I feel like I know what I want, but I'm not 100% sure. At what point and how did you realize what you wanted to take and pursue going through college?
I was one of the lucky ones that always knew from 3rd grade on that I wanted to be an actor. So I had it easy.
I had it kind of hard. And I think you guys would have a lot to add on to this, but like, I think internally I knew I wanted to do something in the creative field, but externally I had a lot of voices and people around me that were giving me pressure to do something more conventional. And so even though internally I wanted to follow my creative path, it took a lot of years for me to like accept that and pursue that. I think the moment I knew I didn't want to pursue anything else outside of acting at the time was that I had gone into a class for like childhood development, which is something that I am also like really passionate about. But I remember going in and just like crying after class because I felt like I was so removed from who I was. And that was when I was like, yep, I'm dropping out of this program and I'm waiting tables and I'm gonna become an actor and just give it a shot. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. I think the statistic is like you all are going to change careers probably 7 or 8 times in your lifetime. That's careers, not just jobs, right? So you'll go through dozens of jobs. Yeah. So the fact that colleges want you to know what to do prior to application is kind of silly.
Yes.
So, you know, put something down, but we know as parents you're going to change your mind. And the parents, you need to be good with that your kiddo is going to really change their mind over time, and it's okay. I mean, look at us. We totally ended up in different fields than probably what we thought.
Yes. I was a pre-med. I thought I wanted to be pre-med, but I changed my mind, and after that, I had 1 semester to figure out what my major would be, and I remember it was a mad scramble. And then that major had nothing to do with what I ended up doing, which was marketing, and then that had nothing to do with me being an author. So anyway, just pursue your interests and have a good time with it. No, but to be serious, it should be something that, you know, if you're passionate about something, there is a way to explore and to, especially for this particular person who knows that they want to do film and writing, there's so many classes, there's so many people to network with, there's, you know, if that's something that they want to do, there's no reason why, there's no barriers to doing that as far as just trying to explore that career path.
Yeah, I mean, I always say sometimes simple is just be simple like me, you know? If you have a passion and you love that thing that you do, just go after it with all your heart and all your dedication, and don't question, don't doubt, because I think that's the problem. We have so much information at the palm of our hands telling us we should be this, we should be that, we should look like this, we should wear that. Just cut that all out and just make it more simplistic. That's what you want, go after it. If it ends up not being what you thought it would be, then change. But if you're going to doubt yourself and you're going to question, I think that's where you fall off. That's where you can't have that goal to pursue something. So just go after it and be clear and simple like me. So.
We like being now when.
That's right.
Yeah, I was one of those. Another one?
Yes,
Leah?
last question for this panel. So this panel is called The Impact of Education. And Joey would like to know college experience versus work world experiences, the value of both, whether that's going through university and any higher education or even in the early years right after you graduate. How would you weigh those and how would you take advantage of those?
For me, in my current job as an author, I can use the experiences from both college and work experiences and incorporate them in my stories. So there are some people who start off with their writing careers very young, and I think that the type of writing that I do, I needed more experience so that I can write about the workplace. I can write about, what it's like to be somebody that's starting off and becoming an adult and has no clue how to do to be an adult. So I think both have had an impact on my current career.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Just know your college-going experience. Half of it will be because of the people you're around, the friends you're going to make, just the environment you're going to be in. Maybe the other half, or 10%, will actually be what you're learning in the classroom. I mean, I've certainly found that to be the case during my entire career.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that social environment, right? That community. I think that is far more important.
Yeah, I
in-
mean, your people skills, all
Yes,
of that.
yeah, that's
I
true.
used to be super shy, but I think going to college and meeting
Yeah.
other people and having to be forced into situations that were outside your comfort zone, I mean, really try to embrace that, especially as young Asian American and Pacific Islanders, right?
Yeah.
There's sort of this stereotype that we're really quiet and meek and we don't speak up, and this is a chance for you all to go out there and, save the world.
Yeah.
all of that.
And the coolest part is, when you go to college, you do start to feel like an adult because you end up calling your professors by their first name a lot of times. I mean, that was my experience. I was like, what? You want me to call you Bob? Okay. So I think those little moments are gems in helping you to grow into who you're going to be, which you will be also magnificent. I could tell right now, okay? Because you're here. You're curious. So you're questioning the whole system and educating yourself. That's really great. So I think that's it. We are done. Thank you so much for being such a wonderful audience. Thank you, Norbert, Suzanne, Ramona. You're not delinquent anymore.
A little bit.
A little bit still?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, thank you so much for being here. And I think we're going to have some meet and greet after this, okay? So,
Thank you
cheers.
so much.
Woo! And thank you, McDonald's, CAPE, and APA next.